And welcome back to the Hot Lap. We are talking BTCC Thruxton qualifying, as well as noticing a particular person that's missing, which has made us quite sad. All that after this. So, welcome to the Hot Lap, and we have this guy here. Do you recognise him? He did really well at Snetterton. And before we get into the qualifying, I want to talk about Bobby Thompson. This is from touringcartimes.com, sorry. He's been ruled out of the Thruxton weekend. And if you watch qualifying, you probably already realised this, but West Surrey Racing, as in Team BMW, Colin Turkington's team, they've confirmed that Bobby Thompson will not compete at this weekend's touring cars in Thruxton. The BMW outfit highlighted financial complexities. Yes, it's all about the money, despite the fact that this guy clearly has absolutely bags of talent, to the point where I'm a bit cross that he's not there. But financial complexities as the reason for Thompson's absence, along with no confirmation on when he would return. I mean, this is a guy that could have potentially won a race after his, in his comeback for you. I don't understand. So it says, unfortunately, due to financial complexities outside of WSR's and Bobby Thompson's control, it will not be possible this weekend to run the number 19 BMW that was driven to a superb finish at Snetterton. WSR continue to work hard with the team's commercial partners to put Bobby back in the BMW as soon as possible. Thompson debuted with the multiple champions last time out of Snetterton under the Zeus Cloud Racing, with WSR banner enjoying a career best weekend, which included a second place finish in race 1. So he qualified well. He got that second place finish in a car he's not amazingly used to, let's be honest. And a car that also, finally, even by his admission, was, good enough to win. So, BTCC, what are you doing? I mean, the fact that you've got a driver arguably more talented than some of the current drivers in the BTCC. I'm not mentioning names, but is not allowed it. And he was so happy. I mean, I'm sorry, it's just making me a bit cross. The fact that you've got this guy with bags of talent, and once again, it's all about the money, isn't it? It's all about the money, which really, really frustrates me in motorsport. You see it in Formula 1. Yes, it's in BTCC. It's akin, for example, for you or I, going up to Manchester United, Arsenal, Chelsea, saying, here you go, here's $1 million, I can play in the game now. And that would never happen. And with the fact that we're not in a position in motorsport to do this, is really, really sad. And it shows the sad times we're in, where we are relying on money, rich mums and dads, rich boys, getting in these cars, where we're potentially missing out on real talent. And bear in mind, the British Touring Car Championship is the national motorsport championship in the UK. That makes it even sadder that we can't have homegrown talent at the top of our, the British touring cars. It's shown on TikTok now. It's shown on ITV. It is becoming mainstream. And also, it has taken a hit. Once again, I think we need to sort that hybrid thing out, but that's by the by. But the fact that Bobby Thompson is not there is really, really sad and makes me cross. I think I've got that point across anyway. But let's get into qualifying, where it was Thomas Ingram for XLRX Motorsports. He's securing pole position despite only, having 5 seconds worth of that hybrid power. He pipped Napper's, no, not Sutton, although I think Sutton did a solid job. He pipped Dan Camish by just over 1/4 of a second, which I think, considering he had less hybrid, domination almost. So he was also fastest in the practice session leading up to qualifying. So this is only, and this surprised me, it's only his 8th career pole and his 2nd of the season after Donington. So it was mostly sunny skies at the Hampshire circuit, which is under just 4/10 than the lap record, under the lap record for the current generation of cars, and that was posted 2 years ago. Now, Dan Camish, who had himself taken that lap record in 2022, was his closest challenger, about 2.65, just shy of 0.3 off, the Hyundai driver. And Laser Tools Racing, Jake Hill, another massive moment. I think Jake Hill being third, just 0.02 of a second back. That's a result he was really, really happy with when being interviewed. And also, Daniel Rowbottom, welcome back to the club, Daniel Rowbottom. He was fourth, and thus he's going to line up behind teammate Camish. Despite having topped the times in Q2, Rowbottom was ultimately 0.3 slower than he had been just 15 minutes before. Reigning champion Ash Sutton, and another shout out to him, he was an impressive fifth. And that was with 1 second of hybrid fuel, maintaining his record so far of the only driver getting into Q3 at every event this year. So just like Snetterton, absolutely fantastic. And I think any of those drivers have a chance of winning the first race and probably the second race, depending where they finish in the first. But we've also got Tom Chilton completed the quick six drivers, along with Ingram being one of only 2 drivers to complete 2 warm-up laps on their hard compound tyres, albeit in the end, for what appeared to be little effect. Unfortunately, Adam Morgan couldn't just quite make it in. Had he done, he would have done his friend Turkington a favour by nipping Ash Sutton into the quick six, but he ended up being 7th, missing the cut by what, 0.0099 thousandths of a second. Josh Cook, who was 8th, he was pipped by Morgan right at the end of Q2, which was kind of sad. And he said, "We made progress for sure, but it's not quick enough," said the king of Thruxton. He says, "We know where the car is strong, and it's not necessity the high-speed corners. I'm happy we can win the race from there." And you absolutely can. In Thruxton, you can pass it. You know, it's slipstreaming. There's a couple of passing places. It is I think it's a really good place for a race. I'm a poet and I didn't know it. So Andrew Watson and Colin Turkington ended up completing that top 10, which I think we've got here, which I'm going to show you. So they've essentially completed that hop 10. The hop 10? The hop 10. Sorry, that's, here we go, all the way up here. Yeah, so you've got qualifying group part 1, part 2, and the quick 6. There you go. Tom Ingram, Dan Camish, Jake Hill, Rowbottom, Ash Sutton, and Tom Chilton. I think if I go touring car times, this is the top 10 then. So you've got Ingram, Camish, Jake Hill, Dan Rowbottom, Ash Sutton, Tom Chilton, Adam Morgan, Josh Cook, Andrew Watson, and Colin Turkington. It's going to be I think it's going to be quite the interesting one. They are nailed down to only have the one tyre, the hard tyres. I've always thought that's because of a few years ago when the tyres were just going bang and it absolutely caused chaos, I think, on the first race to the point where they had to limit the amount of laps, I think, for race 2 and 3. But it was an amazing race. I think Adam Morgan ended up winning that. But it was looking like the Halford Hondas of Alec McNish and Matt Neal looking fairly dominant there. And the Hondas have always gone well here. I miss them. So that's pretty much it for the. That's pretty much it really for the qualifying in the touring cars. The biggest piece of news I think was Bobby Thompson not making it to this weekend. What could he have done? Because he would have had loads of hybrid power, wouldn't he? Yeah. If you want more touring car action, please give us a subscribe. We'll be back probably on Monday for the touring car Fallout, the touring car review on how everyone did. We'll speak to you soon. Thank you very much.